You were told to find it, weren't you? If the stories about the staff are true, if it really can absorb a tremendous amount of power, maybe we can break through on Kano's magic.
Hello, I am the creator of the mod Aetherius Magic. I had a lot of fun working on it. I also had a lot of frustrations, and I apologize to everyone that might have been waiting for a prolonged period of time for an official release of the mod. Now, what the mod does now is that it improves upon your experience when you're going through the College of Winterhold's quests. And right from the start, when you enter into Sarthal, which is the very first mission you go on, you'll find 2 new spells and several small things that you'll be able to fit inside your pockets. And the very first spell that you learn is floating in midair. Just kidding. No. When you first arrive at the college, you're asked a certain question, and it's the premise to one of the answers that you're able to give that the entire mod is built upon.
I am here to assist those seeking the wisdom of the college. And if, in the process, my presence helps to deter those who might seek to do harm, so be it. The more important question is, why are you here? Perhaps, but what is it you expect to find within?
And when you tell her that you want to unravel the mysteries of Aetherius, the aim and the goal of this mod is that by the end of it, you'll feel like you really have.
Ah, the immortal plane. It is said to be the source of all magic. This is a noble goal, indeed. It would seem that the college has what you seek. The question now is, what can you offer the college?
Oh yes, Jazargo hopes to find things that will make him a more powerful mage here. Hopefully small things that fit inside pockets and will not be noticed if they are missing.
Small things can be found in that room. So the mod not only makes you feel like you're unraveling mysteries through learning spells and powers, but also through lore. I spent a lot of time studying the lore of the Elder Scrolls and making everything feel like this. This is actually something that Bethesda would have put in their story had they chose, and it would have made sense, and it wouldn't have been lore-breaking at all. And I really tried to make it seem like the spells were incorporated into the storytelling of the mod, and not just some spell tomes that you find and learn. I really wanted to make the player feel like that when they're casting their spells, that there's a reason and purpose and a story behind it, driven by lore that already exists in the Elder Scrolls. And you're not just going to a merchant and buying some spell tomes, but you're actually discovering this lost ancient magic that no one's been able to understand or cast for thousands of years. And it's with that direction that I went with the mod. Now I feel like I need to place a disclaimer here. This is I forget where this is at, but this is not in my mod. This is vanilla Skyrim, this dungeon. But what I am showcasing is the actual spell. Now this is the very first spell that you do learn going through the College of Winterhold quests when you enter into Sarthal, and it absorbs the magicka of your opponents. Now, you don't really get to see those effects if you don't have the perks that allow you to cast magic at lower cost. So, when you're a new player and magic just is sucked out of you really quickly, and all your spells cost a lot because you don't have a big mana pool, then you're not going to be able to see that very well. But as you can see right here, I'm not a very high level at this point, but you'll see some clips later on where I'm casting it a lot easier. But starting off anew, it's still really fun using this spell. And I know going through this dungeon here, I couldn't kill anything unless I was using this spell. because I was a new character and I didn't really have any spells that could do very much damage except for this one. And it's like the bread and butter of this mod, really. It's really fun to cast, and you just want to keep using it. If you've noticed, there is a new animation when I'm casting this spell. My hand starts to clench up a bit and starts shaking like I'm really concentrating. And really, that's not an animation that I created. It's in the vanilla game. But it's, and when I discovered it, I was like, oh my goodness, I put in a new animation without actually creating a new animation in my mod. So what I did is with any spell that I created that is a concentration spell where you're continuously casting it, holding down that button, if there's a delay where you have to wait and kind of charge before you start casting, however long that delay is, it could be fractions of a second, you can then unpress and repress immediately, and then it'll go into that new animation. So that'll be available to you through all my spells that actually do concentrate and continuously cast, which is great, and I really love it, and I use it almost every time I am casting. Now, the point in which I am in the game here in this clip, I have progressed a little further and have become more powerful, and I'm able to cast Phenomenon with a bit more ease, as you can see. And you're able to see how it actually is absorbing the magicka of my opponent. Now, the thing is, with this spell, there are two aspects of it. I can dual cast, which staggers my opponent, but it doesn't really absorb magicka because the cost of dual casting is greater than how much magicka that I'm absorbing. But when I'm casting with one arm, or with both arms, both hands, but I'm not dual casting, I'm able to absorb a considerable amount of magicka, which and the cost isn't very high doing that, so I'm able to continuously cast without any help from enchantments, which is a nice feature, and it's the only spell in my mod that actually does that, aside from one other spell, but it does it in a different way. Not in any way in which Phenomenon does it. Phenomenon does it by casting it on others, and it only works if you're actually absorbing the magic from another opponent. And unlike most spells in the vanilla game and in other mods, Phenomenon is actually more powerful, meaning that it causes more damage to opponents and enemies when you are casting in both your hands simultaneously and not in a dual cast, which is different. Again, it gives two different ways you can use the spell. You can dual cast and cause your enemy to stagger, but it won't absorb magic because the cost of dual casting is so high. Or you can cast it in both hands and absorb a lot of magic and cause more damage, but you're not going to be able to stagger the opponent. So, this is the spell Phenomenon, one of my favorite spells I've ever made, and I really hope you guys enjoy it. Now, of course, obviously, the effects and how it looks is very strikingly similar to the Staff of Magic, if you didn't already know. But, like I said, how the spell works, it's completely different, and it also, aesthetically, it does have differences to how it actually looks when you're casting it on somebody, as opposed to using the Staff of Magnus. Now this is the second spell that you learn when you enter into Sarthal, and it's called Rise of Magic. Now what it does is it not only makes you glow, but it gives you an increase in boost to your magicka regeneration, gives you an increase in your carrying capacity, and it gives you a 50% increase in your enchantments. Now at this point in my game, I've kind of come into my own as a powerful mage. At least that's how I feel. That's how my own mod makes me feel when I'm playing. And the enemy that I'm facing here is called the Caller, and really she's one of the most unique enemies that you'll face in all of Skyrim, because she summons these two flame atronachs that try to attack you, and when you try to attack her, she like trades positions with them, and there's no other boss that you'll ever face that's like that. And it's a shame because the vanilla version, once you get rid of the flame atronachs, she's a pushover and you can kill her pretty easily. So what I wanted to do is make this battle last longer and be a little bit more epic. And so I gave her the ability where her health, when it gets super low, it still regenerates rapidly. So it's very difficult to kill her with magic, and so you kind of have to figure out a way to kill her. And depending on how far you progressed and what other spells you might be using, is how easily or hard, more difficult it's going to be for you to tackle her as an opponent. But she was really fun. Trying to figure out how to take her down, because up until that point I really felt like, you know, I'm this super powerful all-knowing mage, but I was humbled. I humbled myself by creating a difficult battle. And at this point, you know, I didn't really have very many spells from my own mod yet. You know, it was just a few of them, and just a few made me feel that way, made me feel, you know, that powerful. With respect to balance. For sure, if there's one thing that I learned from the betas, that people like balance. And I really tried to incorporate that into this version of the mod. And you'll learn, this is where you'll begin to learn many more spells that the mod has to offer before you actually learn more of the big Aetherius Magic spells that you're familiar with, some of you from the beta. But you know, I wanted that sense of progression, that sense of when, if you're going to start over with a new character, there are some spells that you build up to before you obtain the great power of, you know, Aetherius Magic. And this is an area where you learn a few of those spells. Of course, these spells will be available to you if you haven't gone back and relived these quest lines in the college, because you know, I don't want to force anybody to restart a new character in order to fully experience this mod. That's not something I want to do. Here's the journal, however, that you're not going to be able to read in the game if you don't do that. But the spells will still be there. The spells you'll still learn. Once you become the Archmage, there's a safe in the Archmage's quarters that you can open with the Archmage's quarters keys, and your quest then will begin from there, and you'll learn these spells that you missed out on had you gone back and went through all these quest lines all over again. So you're not going to miss out on learning any of these spells that I created. Obviously, I wouldn't make it, so you'd have to do that. It's by choice, and if you do choose to do that, there's a very immersive way that you learn the spells. So now these are the Fire, Frost, and Polarity spells, and they not only look great, but they're very useful, very game changing. Before you go into a fight, you're going to find yourself wanting to use them all the time. And at least personally for me, I don't feel like that's a chore at all. For one, just because it makes me look awesome, and for two, the usefulness that the spells give to the player in a combat. Because lightning polarity would resist lightning spells, and it doesn't make you completely immune, but it gives you enough resistance to where it's useful to you.